Hi there, welcome to Simple Interest Day 2. We're going to keep using the formula that you learned in the last video, which is interest equals principal, which is the amount you start with, times the rate, that's our percentage rate, times the time, and remember the time is in years. Yesterday you were figuring out what the interest would be given the other pieces of information. Today we're going to be looking for some other missing parts. For example, we're going to be looking for the rate will be missing. You're going to know how much interest there is and you need to get the rate, or you might be looking for the time. Let's start with problems where you have to find the interest rate. So in example 1, you deposit $600 into a savings account. After 6 months, the balance is $618. Find the simple annual interest. Let's start identifying some of the different parts that are given to you in the problem. You deposit $600. That's the amount you're starting with, so that is your principal, $600. The balance, the A, is your account balance, and that is $618. And then the interest, while it doesn't specifically tell you how much the interest is, we can figure this out and take the $618 that you ended with, subtract the $600 that you started with, and we come out with an interest amount of $18. The rate we don't know. You'll notice it asks you to find the simple annual interest rate. So that's the one we don't know. We'll call it R. And then your time is 6 months. Now remember, time has to be written in form of years. And so 6 months is 6/12 of a year, which is the same as 1/2, or in decimal form that would be 0.5. So now we can go ahead and use our formula and plug in everything that we know. We know that the interest is $18, so I'll say interest is 18 equals, my principal was $600. I'm going to multiply that times my rate, and then times my time, which is 0.5. We're going to now work on solving this equation for R, but before I do, I'm going to simplify a little bit. These two numbers here, the 600 and the 0.5, we can multiply those together first. So 18 is equal to 600 times 0.5. Well, what's half of 600? That would be 300 times R. And now to solve for R, I just need to divide both sides by 300. And R is equal to, those will cancel, and if you do 18 divided by 300 on your calculator, you will get 0.06. And when we change that into a percent, we need to multiply by 100, and it comes out to 6%. And so you can see our answer here, the simple annual interest rate is 6%. Let's go ahead and do one more example together before I have you do one on your own. In example 2, you deposit $1,000. So that's our starting amount. We will put that into the principal part. Into a 3-month certificate of deposit. That's a type of savings plan. After 3 months, so there's our time is 3 months, and remember we have to write it in years, so it's 3 out of 12. That's the same as 1/4, or in decimal form, 0.25. After 3 months, the balance is $1,005. So we'll put the balance at the account balance here, $1,005. Now, can we figure out the interest? We sure can. We can subtract the $1,005 minus the $1,000, and that tells me we're going to be earning $5 in interest here. The rate is what we're looking for. So let's go ahead and plug in everything we know. The interest is $5, and that is equal to my principal, which was $1,000, times my rate, times my time, which was 0.25. So now we can go ahead and multiply these two numbers together here, and we end up with 5 equals 1,000 times 0.25. If you do that on your calculator, it comes out to be 250 times the rate. We're going to divide by 250 on both sides to solve for R. And we end up with R equals, those cancel out, 5 divided by 250 on your calculator should come out to 0.02. And when you multiply that by 100, that gives us an interest rate of 2%. So the simple annual interest rate is 2%. Go ahead and go to the next page, hit pause, and try this next question. Alright, let's take a look at it here. Mrs. Educate borrows $6,300. That is our principal. It's what she started with, and I need to fix what I wrote there. $6,300. And she pays off the loan in 2 years, so my time is 2, and her new balance is $7,056. So to get our interest, you should have subtracted $7,056 minus $6,300, and we come up with an interest amount of $756. So my rate, that's what you don't know, and we'll go ahead and plug everything in here. The interest was $756 equals my principal was $6,300 times the rate times the time of 2 years. Go ahead and multiply those two together, and we have $756. Sorry about that. $756 is equal to $6,300 times 2 is $12,600 times the rate. Divide both sides by $12,600. And your rate is equal to, that comes out in decimal form as 0.06. Multiply that by 100 and it ends up being a 6% interest rate. Alright, we're going to move on to finding an amount of time now. And so the time now will be missing. We will know the rate, but we won't know the time. Example 3, you put $750 into a certificate of deposit. Your simple annual interest rate is 4%. You received a check for the interest at the end of each year. How long will it take to earn $150 in interest? So what was our starting amount? That was $750. How much interest are we looking to get? Well, right here at the end it says we want to get $150 in interest. What is the interest rate? Right there tells us it's 4%. And the time we don't know, so we'll call that T. Let's plug in all of our things into the equation here. The interest is going to be $150 is equal to my principal, which was $750, times my rate, which was 4%, times my time, which I don't know. So let's go ahead and multiply these two together to start. We have 150 is equal to, when you do 750 times 4%, that comes out to 30, times T. We're going to divide by 30, divide by 30. Those cancel. 150 divided by 30, T ends up equaling 5. Make sure you label it that it is years, because we want to know, is it years, months, days? What is it? Turns out to be years in the simple interest formula. Go ahead and hit pause and try this next question. Alright, let's see how you did. Anne has $300, that's our principal. She's earning 1.75% annual interest, so that's my rate, 1.75%. And then how much interest is she looking to get? At the end here it tells us $21. The time is what we're looking for. We'll call that T. So if we put everything into the formula, it's 21 is equal to 300 times my rate of 1.75% times the time. Go ahead and multiply these two together and we get 21 is equal to 300 times 1.75% is 5.25 times our time, divide by 5.25, divide by 5.25, and my time ends up equaling, when you do 21 divided by 5.25, you should have gotten 4 years. Again, don't forget to label that. That's all we have here, and hope you did well. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.